Hey guys, how's it going? My name is Matt and I've got wood in my workshop. Thank you for taking the time to check out my video. I just passed over 10,000 followers over on Instagram and told myself a while ago that if I were to ever have 10,000 followers on Instagram, I'd make my first YouTube videos. So here we are. Anyways, this is going to be my first video. It's a shop tour. I live in an apartment complex right now, so this is just a rented single car garage from them. It's just a standard single car garage, so it's 200 square feet. I think it's like 14 by 20, something like that. Not really positive. But yeah, this is kind of my rented space. The biggest issue with it is power. I have a single 15 amp circuit, and that causes problems with everything. So anyways, let's get started and I'll take you around and show you what I've got. First up over here, we're going to start off with my Rikon bandsaw. It is the 14-inch 10325 bandsaw. It's got a 13-inch resaw capacity, which is really nice. And it pretty much does everything that I need. Really the only complaints on it is this light back here is quite flimsy. It doesn't really do for a whole lot. It kind of falls every time that you try to use it, and it's positioned really awkwardly. But as far as the actual saw goes, like I said, I have zero complaints. This guy here is a log cutting sled that I made for it. I do a lot of stuff with logs, and this makes cutting them a little bit safer. And you can see here I've kind of added measurements as far as where I generally need to cut things. Other than that, like I said, I really don't have a lot negative to say. For the money, I'm not sure that you're going to find a better bandsaw. Next up, we've got this Harbor Freight mini lathe. It's the 10 by 18 model. It's the half horsepower. I don't do a whole lot of turning. I mostly make decorative office items like pens, or I'll make keychains, little styluses, things like that. And for all of that kind of stuff, it works great. I really don't have many complaints about it. The biggest complaint is going to be having to change the belt every time, especially when you're trying to batch out products for sale or anything like that. It takes quite a bit of time away to actually change the speed of the lathe. I mean, you have to undo the nut here, and then you have to fumble in here, and then fumble up here. It just kind of takes a little bit to get used to. Other than that, I also installed this. This was actually a suggestion from Dima over at Dima's Woodshop, and that is one of the coolest things ever. I decided to take it off of the lathe because I found that every time that I was trying to adjust the tailstock, it would run right into it. So I just screwed it directly to the wall and can position it however I want. It's just a cheap little lamp from IKEA. I think it was like $9, something like that. I have pegboard back here that has a few of my calipers for my lathe tools, and then back here I used another one of the Harbor Freight magnet strips to store most of those tools. I built this lathe stand, and really this is the only really nice piece of furniture that I would consider that I have in my shop. I was just trying to experiment with doing different things, and decided to make it look nice. So anyways, this is on double locking casters, which are really nice. They're just the red ones from Harbor Freight. So it doesn't really move around at all once it's locked down. It just it'll wiggle back and forth a little bit, but turning on the lathe, it has no issues. So in here I've got just all of my random stuff that I use the most. These are actually made out of aluminum, so they actually don't fit on the magnet strip, unfortunately. But these are the only carbide tools that I have. They're just the carbide tools from Rockler. I really wanted to try the Abernet sanding strips, but they're quite expensive for just a little Turner's pack. So I actually had some sanding discs and decided to just cut those up and use them, and it actually works out great. So this is just a little tray that'll organize all of that. Then I've got the micro mesh and stuff like that in there. Random center finders. I actually took one of the Allen wrenches that fits up here, and just went ahead and installed a magnet on it. That way it will just sit there. So that works out pretty well. And then I just have other random stuff in here, and I'm going to have to make an organizer for it at some point. I just finished up this stand not too long ago. And then underneath, I've got a lot of project storage, so I use a lot of these Harbor Freight little basket things to store things that I need to be working on. That way I can put the wood that I want to use in there, I can put any other miscellaneous parts in there. I just have random finishes over here, CA glue, and drill bits. Down here is going to be mostly router bit storage. My router table is right behind this, so it makes for really convenient storage. One of the nice things about having a small shop is that you can kind of double duty things. So yeah, this is just random router bit storage. And then this is going to be all of the other lathe related stuff. I don't really use much of the sanding rolls anymore because I switched to the Abernet. Found it's a lot more flexible and can get into nooks and crannies on your turnings a lot better. And then other stuff that I don't use quite as often for the lathe. Right next to this, I got my Rikon Slow Speed bench grinder and a Wolverine sharpening jig. I haven't really used it all that much. I don't think that I have the Wolverine jig quite set up right. So I'm going to have to look into that at some point, try to figure all of that out. But for right now, I've been using mostly carbide tools, so that works. But I'd really like to get into using more traditional style tools. So I'll be figuring that out in the future. As far as the grinder goes, no complaints at all. Works pretty great. And you're gonna have to bear with me here for a minute. I'm gonna have to go ahead and say the F word. But over here, I've got my Festool system. This is their CT26E dust extractor, and then I have the ETS 150-3, and then the Rotex 150. They do a great job. My fiance and I are getting married April 17th, and for our wedding, I am going to be making all of the decorations. There's over 100 pieces that I needed to make, and it's all going to be made out of Osage orange, which, if you haven't ever used Osage orange before, it is a very dense, hard wood. And everything that I'm doing is sanding end grain. Trying to sand end grain with just a standard random orbital sander took forever and honestly didn't work. I didn't feel like I was getting anywhere, and so with that much stuff to make, I decided to go ahead and make the jump in investment into the Festool system, and it has blown me away. It does amazingly well at sanding the end grain, gets everything smooth, removes saw marks within a matter of seconds. It doesn't take... the first time that I tried to do a end grain cookie, it took me about 30 minutes of sanding just to try to remove saw marks. And I gummed up three pieces of sandpaper within the process. And this doesn't have the issue. Almost all of the dust is extracted as I'm sanding, which is a huge deal in this shop because I don't have any dust collection and really can't. Right next to that, I've got all of my clamp storage. Clamp storage is really nothing but 10-inch galvanized nails driven into a 2x4 and then screwed to the wall. And honestly, that has done a great job for me. It holds all the clamps without a problem. These are all 6-inch Bessey clamps that I got from Home Depot when they were on sale. For I think it was like 6 for $20, which was, or 6 for $15, which was a pretty crazy deal. Then I got some Harbor Freight clamps there, and then the quick grip clamps, some Rockler fence clamps, and then a few of the Craig Automax, and then a DeWalt that I got on a set. Up top, I've got some Rockler bar clamps, which are awesome. I love those. And then I've also got some Jet parallel clamps that I picked up on their Black Friday sale. And then next to that, I've got just some Harbor Freight bar clamps that work great. Down below that, and you're going to kind of notice a theme here with a lot of my shop items. This is a cabinet that I actually found it at my Apartments Complex dump. It was just a cabinet that I guess they tore out and decided that they were going to throw away. So I took it and actually found this top that's multiple pieces. Found this top for it at the same dumpster as well. And kind of repurposed it into a miter saw station. So this is basically just storage. I have just random glues, other things that I need. I hate cabinets like this. So once I move into a more permanent situation, this is going to be changing. And then I have sanding discs stored here. Under here, I just have some other random big tools. I also have my workshop stored down here, which if you haven't ever used one of these things are awesome. It took my cheaper Harbor Freight chisels from not so great and made them very formidable, well sharpened chisels. I mean, they do everything that I need them to do. But anyways, this is just more for storage type stuff. And then just other random accessories and stuff like that down there. Up here, I've kind of converted this into a sanding station since it's right next to the Festool sander. I use a couple of different things. I use these bench cookies, which are really nice. They'll hold your work really well onto the table and allow you to sand on top of it without creating a huge mess or without your piece flying all over the place. I also went and picked up a Bessie clamp here, just a toggle clamp, and used that to help with sanding other items. I'll use this as a spacer block because a lot of the material I work with is 3/4 inch, and this is larger than 3/4 inch, so if I try to sand up to the edge, it will actually hit this and dent it up and scratch it up. So I'll use a 1/2 inch piece of plywood spacer to clamp stuff down to, and that works out really well. This is one of those Osage Orange end-grain cookies that I was talking about. I do a lot of stuff with these, so I actually came up with this to help me hold these pieces down while I'm sanding on them. I can even flip this, and that way this piece doesn't really want to move all that much while I'm sanding on it. I do have another set of these that's shorter for when I'm doing stuff like this. But anyways, that works out great. I'd make a lot of arrows for wall decoration. I sell those on my Etsy page. But that's mainly what I use this for, is for sanding these. And it holds everything there without me having to hold it here, sand, flip it over, hold it, sand. That way I can do everything in one shot. Right next to that, I've got my Ryobi 10-inch sliding miter saw. It works. I got it on a Black Friday sale, and it came with the stand. The stand worked, but it wasn't great. So I decided to convert this back over into a miter bench and use it that way, and it, like I said, it works. I don't do anything for accuracy on the miter saw. I just need it usually to rough cut boards to a dimension, and I had a Hitachi 10-inch, which was great. It was very accurate. Had no issues with it, but I found myself needing to cross-cut I needed to cross-cut a lot of boards that were 11, 12 inches wide, and it just simply couldn't handle it. So I was forced to do jigsaw cuts, which left a lot of tear out, and it kind of got to be a pain. So when this went on sale, I went ahead and picked it up. Like I said before, it just kind of works. I was using a really cheap blade on it and was really disappointed with the results. And when I upgraded my table saw blade, I kind of decided to go ahead and put the old blade that was in there in here. This is a Irwin Marathon blade, I believe. And this works great. Made a big difference in how the saw cuts. But again, it's a miter saw and it's not really all that accurate. So it's great for rough cutting. I wouldn't trust it for accuracy, but for what I use it for, it does a great job. Right above that, I actually have the J. Bates lumber rack using the conduit, and that stores quite a bit. I can definitely put a bit more on it, but that stores a lot of the stuff in here. Most of this is going to be more dimensional project type lumber. I actually have more lumber stored around the shop, and then I have 2 other garages here at the apartment complex, which I'll show you later. Right next to that is more project storage. These are projects that are paid for that are waiting for me to get to. Other prototype type projects, things that I'm trying to get finished. A little bit of hand plane storage. I don't have a real storage space for them, so they just kind of hang out here. And then back here is going to be the absolute most wasted space in my shop. This cabinet I don't do a whole lot with. I find that I like to have all of my tools out to where I can see them. That way I'm not fumbling through drawers trying to find everything. And then back here is kind of the junk pile, things that I don't really use anymore or aren't worth my space out here. So anyways, this is at the front of at the shop. Again, this workbench is okay. It works. I have my shop stereo sitting on top of it. That clock is not accurate at all, so that's not real. And then just random pegboard storage. I use the sides of it to store all my spring clamps, and then other small quick clamps. And then underneath here is just simply junk. That is the most unorganized spot in my shop. That all needs to be gone through and some of it gotten rid of and consolidate my space a little bit there. Up above, I try to keep, as far as a little bit of shop decoration, I keep all of my old license plate frames, license plates, all up here. And then I also have some reminders, I guess. So when I first started woodworking, I used to use gloves a lot. And I actually cut myself pretty bad on the table saw. These are actually Kevlar gloves, so I'm not sure if that helped or hurt. But anyways, I cut basically from here to here off on my fingertip there, and then from here to here off on this fingertip. And it was interesting. It all healed back up, but that was literally right as I got started. Luckily, I wasn't hurt any worse, and I can learn from the experience. Above it, I have another glove that I forget what I was doing with this one, but basically I tore out this whole top of it and scraped up my knuckle really bad. And then on the other side here, this is actually a wheel. You can see right there, the wheel's broken. I used to have a Lancer Evolution. It was quite a fast car. It was taking a corner in the snow on bald tires too fast and slid into the curb and basically put about $3,000 worth of damage into the car. So yeah, that's my reminder daily to not do that again. I moved this guy out of the way. This is just a cheap Skil drill press. It's really great for small things. I have a bigger drill press and it kind of becomes cumbersome to try to do smaller projects with it. So that sits here. I mostly use it for drilling pen blanks or trimming the pen blanks up. Over here I've got my air compressor. This is a California Air Tools ultra quiet one. It's really nice. When it's on, you can hardly hear it, which is great for an apartment complex because I can't have anything loud going on really. And then up here I've got my air tool storage. I actually took the cheap Harbor Freight air connectors that leak all over the place and just installed those as quick connects so that I can put all of my tools here. It works great for that. Keeps everything organized, keeps the inlet free from any debris. And then up here I just put all of the associated stuff. All the oils, different brad nailers. Here I have, this is all on French cleat by the way. I have the retractable hose reel. This is just the one that you can get at Walmart. Works for what I need it for. And then all of this is going to be French cleat type storage. This is my Makita angle grinder. Again, works great. This is the kind of a modified J-Bates drill press or drill cabinet. Have all my drills stored down there, chargers, and then miscellaneous drill bit kits up there. I made these shop light holders. These are just the articulating arm lamps. I made these French cleat holders and just drilled a center hole in there for the base of the lamp. I don't want to go up too high because I don't want to blind you, but you can kind of see that there. I'll give you a side profile of it. There you go. And then this is another shop thing here. I got this from Woodworking in America. Had all of the YouTube guys there sign it, turned it into a shop clock there, and that really like that piece of it. So this is my Porter cable drill press. It works for everything that I need it for. It's not the most accurate drill press in the world. It does have a little bit of run out. I think a lot of it is me not taking the time to adjust it properly. So that's something that I really need to do in the future. I just haven't had the time recently to go through and do a whole lot with that. Right next to that, I have more of the Harbor Freight magnet strips. And those just hold all the miscellaneous Forstner bits and stuff like that I don't have a space for. I'd like to build a drill press cabinet here in the future. I just don't have the time right now. I mentioned before that I do a lot of log work. So this is my log drilling jig. It's not really a jig, it's just 3 clamps kind of clamped together. So the nice thing about this is that I can take a log. Well, let me get a smaller log. These are the projects I'm working on for the wedding. So I can take a log and center it up in there, move the table over. This clamps and this isn't going anywhere. It'll move the whole drill press before it moves. So anyways, that's how I drill all of those. These are the projects that I'm working on right now. These are going to be flower vases for the centerpieces on the tables, and these are different candle light holders or tea light holders. I've got my shop vac that I picked up from Lowe's. It was on a Black Friday sale. And again, this was at the apartment complex dump. People throw away the craziest stuff, so I'm happy to take that from them. Also, this big shop fan that I use to blow out dust, probably a $60, $70 fan. I also found that at the dump too. I have the Oneida Dust Deputy here that does a great job, keeps the shop vac filter clean a lot longer than before. And then right next to that, I've got the Craig Foreman. For me, when I make the chevron arrows that I was showing you before, this speeds up that process considerably. As far as this goes, I have no complaints for it. It is a very nice machine. It's quite expensive, but if you're doing something where you need repetitive pocket holes that are accurate, it works great. It has these stops right here that will allow you to set up to drill consistent holes. And then right above that, again, this is another cart that I found at the dump for free. Didn't think I would have a use for it. Was actually going to take it back out there. And then I got the Foreman, and it fits just about perfectly on this. So yeah, that worked out well. Right above that, I got this little organizing tray thing from Woodcraft, and it stores just about everything I need. Above that, I have another one of the Harbor Freight magnet strips. And then above that, this is kind of my French cleat wall. I have all my Ryobi tools, brad nailers, sawzalls, jigsaw, and then the multi-tool up here with the right angle attachment, which I have found and used quite often. This little circular saw, I don't know if part of it's because I don't have the 4AH batteries, but it doesn't really cut worth anything and drains the batteries within seconds. Here I have what used to be my random orbital sander storage area, but since I don't use that a whole lot anymore, since I have the Festool system, it's kind of just become other 5-inch sanding discs. And then I picked this guy up from Woodcraft, and this is really all I use the 5-inch discs for anymore. This is just a hook and loop sanding strip thing. I have another articulating arm light right here that goes out over my assembly table. This is my assembly table. I have power strip on this side and on that side. And then underneath I have a little Porter cable jointer, and then a DeWalt scroll saw that I actually picked up from a guy on Craigslist. It doesn't have the table, the trunnion, or it didn't have the blower, the air nozzle at all. So I actually took that off of an old scroll saw, and then you can see right next to it, I made a little table for it that'll sit there when I need it. I picked it up for I think it was like $75, and that saw is like $350 new. So I was happy to do that, and then make do with it until I can afford to get a nicer one. So that works out well. It's on the same locking casters as I have all of my other stuff. Moving just in front of the assembly table, I built the J-Bates router lift extension wing. This is great. I absolutely love this. Pretty easy, simple to adjust. I have no complaints about this table. If you haven't seen Jay's video on this, he has plans available, well worth buying, very well laid out. Couldn't recommend this guy anymore. And moving over here, we've got the Delta 36725 table saw. It does work great. Again, like I said, I don't have a whole lot of power in here, so I feel like it's unfair to judge the tool based on that. I've blown the breaker a few times trying to run this saw. So it has enough power for most of what I do. For the money, I'm not sure that you're going to find a whole lot better of a saw. The fence works great, which is one of the biggest complaints about any other table saw. It's definitely adjustable. And like I said, for what I need it for and for what most people would need it for, it's great. I would eventually at some point like to upgrade to a saw stop, but I don't have the money or the space for that right now. On top, I've got the Incra HD miter jig. This guy works great. The one that comes with it is okay. I guess it does what it needs to do, but that's really it. No accessories or anything like that with it. It's got this really nice flip top flip stop that works great. Over on this wall, I've got just random blade storage. I'd really like to build something at some point here to better store blades and store other table saw accessories. Over here is the fence for the J-Bates router table. I have my miter sled there, and then various jigs down below. The miter sled usually has another toggle clamp right here to hold the pieces while I'm working on them. Up above that, I actually have I think it's called the Portamate or Workmate lumber rack storage thing. It came as two really long pieces, and I cut it down in half to be make four shorter pieces. So that works out well and stores stores wood really nice right next to the table saw where it's easily accessible. To the right over here, I have this to the left, I have this flip top station. This was from Brad over at Fix This Build That. He has plans out on his website, so if you want to build that, check it out. But I have my rigid oscillating spindle sander here. That works out well. I really love that. One of the better investments that I made in tools. Saves me a ton of time, and the belt allows me to get rid of a belt disc sanding station. So that works out well. And then below it, I have just my rigid planer. It works out great. I haven't had the opportunity to use it a whole lot just because of the dust that it creates in here. And being in an apartment, it's difficult to use with all of the noise that it creates. And up above here, this is kind of going to be the last part of this shop. Up above here, I have just random wood storage. It's all open beam in here, so I've been able to make use of that and install some areas where I can store more wood up in there. So, and then I have it again back up in here. These are all mostly pallet boards. When I first got into woodworking, that was most of what I did, was reclaimed type wood projects. And that's just going to be about it for this workshop. I have two other garages here at this apartment complex that I will go through and show you kind of what I got going on there. One of them is going to be more for finishing, and then the other one is a sawdust-free shop. So that's just where I store all of my finished stuff, things that are ready to sell, shipping supplies, that kind of stuff. So I'll do those in another video. This video is getting kind of long. But yeah, for here, that's about it. Like I said before, this is an apartment. I live in an apartment complex, and this is just one of the garages that I rent from them. It does it works for me right now. It's not ideal by any means, and the 15 amp restriction on power is a huge deal. I run into issues with that constantly. I found out where the breaker box is pretty quickly. And then there's other people in the apartment complex that also use their garage for woodworking type stuff. So trying to coordinate with them when they're out working in their garage has become kind of difficult. So it's only temporary. We're looking to do something here pretty soon as far as move out of the apartment complex and do something different. So that'll be coming up, but for right now it's working out for me. So be on the lookout for the next two videos, or the next video going over the other two shops. They're not quite as in depth and they don't really have any tools in them, but that'll just kind of give you an idea of my workspace and in my workflow. So anyways, thank you guys for watching so much. I really appreciate it. If you have any questions or would like me to elaborate on anything at all, leave that in the comments below. And if you can, please like, rate, and subscribe. That would really help me out a lot. I will be posting more shop projects and stuff like that as I get into doing YouTube videos more often. Anyways, again, thank you for watching.